Canadians don't hate Indians, and Canada and its citizens do not hate India in its entirety. But Justin Trudeau, we can't speak for him. It really seems like he hates Indians and he hates India, which is why he's made such wild accusations towards the Indian government for potential assassination of someone living in Canada who was like listed as a terrorist in India. Like, it's all very confusing, and I don't want to get into the politics of the Indian culture for this, but we're going to be taking a look at how there's kind of a tit for tat chess game here between Justin Trudeau and the Indian government, and it's 100% because of Justin Trudeau and his slanderous behavior. Welcome back to another video, everybody. Before we get into it, I want to encourage you to give a like and subscribe if you haven't yet already. Really helps grow the channel, as well as remind you, if you would like a "I did not see that coming" sticker, the link for that is down in the description or the pinned comment of this video. To fully understand what's happening here, we're gonna have to take a look at this video of a 10-day trajectory of Justin Trudeau slandering India and then complimenting India, and it only took him 10 days to make this very weird swing, and it's all very bizarre. It's all happening very fast, and Justin Trudeau does not speak for Canadians, but he does represent our country. Here we go.
Credible allegations of a potential link between agents of the government of India and the killing of a Canadian citizen, Hardeep Singh.
So it's on September 19th.
There are credible reasons to believe that
September 21st
of India were involved in the killing of a Canadian on Canadian soil. We are there to work constructively.
The 22nd.
We hope that they engage with us so that we can get to the bottom of this very serious matter.
And the 29th.
India is a growing economic power and important geopolitical player. And as we presented with our Indo-Pacific strategy just last year, we're very serious about building closer ties with India.
It took them 10 days to go that India is the worst place and they've committed the atrocities here on Canadian soil to we're working on things with India and we really respect them. And because of this, India has expelled Canadian diplomats, but now it's picked up and they've expelled way more. India has tells Canada to remove 41 of its 62 diplomats in the country, an official says. India has told Canada to remove 41 of 62 diplomats in the country. The official, who confirmed an earlier report from the Financial Times, spoke on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to speak publicly. So this seems to be like it's a leak. India's Ministry of External Affairs declined to comment, but ministry spokesperson had previously called for a reduction in Canadian diplomats in India, saying they outnumbered India's staffing in Canada. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said last month that there were credible allegations of Indian involvement in the slaying of Hardeep Singh Najjar, a 41-year-old Sikh leader who was killed by a masked gunman in June in Surrey outside of Vancouver, but who was, I believe, a listed terrorist in India. That whole situation is very confusing, and I'm not going to dive into Indian politics. We're just going to focus on the tensions between Canada and India. And then this is what Justin Trudeau, you'll see in this video, had to say about the matter.
India has asked Canada to reduce its diplomatic presence, the latest escalation in the tensions between the two countries. India has told Canada that it must repatriate dozens of its diplomats by next week. The Prime Minister was asked about this before heading into Cabinet this morning. Here's what he said.
Obviously, we're going through an extremely challenging time with India right now. But that's
because of you, dumbass.
To have diplomats on the ground working with the Indian government there to support Canadians and Canadian families. We're taking this extremely seriously, but we're going to continue to engage responsibly and constructively with the government of India.
Let's go now to CTV's Scott Hurst. He's following the story. He joins me now with more. Scott, what more are you learning?
Marcia, as you just mentioned, the latest escalation in tension between these two countries, and we saw that strained relationship on full display at a meeting during the recent G20 summit between the two leaders of India and Canada. Now, India has asked Canada to reduce its diplomatic presence. We're tracking this latest report coming out of the Financial Times this morning. As you just heard, the Prime Minister commenting on this just a short time ago, saying this is a challenging time with India right now, but they are continuing to work through the process to support Canadians in that country. Now, India has told Canada it must repatriate 41 diplomats by October 10th. Ties between Canada and India have taken a significant hit in recent weeks. The Prime Minister telling Parliament last month India was allegedly behind the death of a Sikh activist in British Columbia, an allegation India has dismissed. The PM says there were credible allegations of Indian involvement in the slaying of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, a 45-year-old Sikh leader who was killed by a gunman in June in Surrey, BC, just outside of Vancouver. For years, India has said Nijjar, a Canadian citizen born in India, has links to terrorism, an allegation Nijjar had denied. So, Marcia, quite some urgency to this latest report. That October 10th deadline, just 1 week from now. Canada currently has 62 diplomats in India, so that is quite a significant chunk of Canada's presence in that country. We'll continue to track the latest developments and reaction coming out of Ottawa and bring that to you as soon as that reaction comes out of Ottawa. We'll send it back to you.
Scott, thanks for that.
This all could have been avoided if Justin Trudeau made a phone call or something to the president of India saying, hey, man, these are the allegations and I'd like to talk to you about it. And he's under a lot of criticism, not only from Justin Trudeau's under a lot of criticism, not only from our own government and, other people around the world, but its own citizens. I mean, there's Indians, lots of Indians, a heavy Indian population here in Canada that are like, what the hell are you doing, Trudeau? And then Indians in India are also saying, what are you doing, Trudeau? Everybody is kind of on the same page of what are you doing, Trudeau? And the best person to lay down the law and say, what the actual F are you doing, Trudeau, is this man right here, Pierre Poilievre, the opposition leader. And here's what he has to say about India-Canada tensions, as well as the House Speaker election.
Thank you very much, everyone. After 8 years, Justin Trudeau is not worth the cost, and he is not worth the chaos. After 8 years, of course, housing costs have doubled. Everything costs more. Work doesn't pay. Crime, chaos, drugs, and disorder are common in our streets, and Canada's international reputation is in tatters. We should be working to reverse the inflation Trudeau caused, to axe his 61-cent a litre carbon tax, to balance the budget, to bring down inflation and interest rates before Canadians lose their homes, to reverse Trudeau's catch-and-release policies so that we can protect our streets from repeat habitual violent offenders. But instead of doing that, today again we're cleaning up Justin Trudeau's mess. Trudeau showed complete negligence in failing to vet the event that he arranged, the visit of a foreign state leader. Still, he has not apologized to Canada's veterans for honoring a Nazi soldier on the floor of the House of Commons. Still, he has not called the Ukrainian president to apologize.
Oh my God!
For the embarrassment that his negligence that Trudeau's negligence allowed to occur on the floor of the House of Commons. And today, instead of working together to reverse Trudeau's inflation, to reverse the doubling of housing costs that he caused, to reverse the crime wave that he unleashed with his policies, we're once again working to fix Trudeau's mess, to elect a new speaker. It is time to get back to work. It is time to make common sense common. It is time to bring it home for Canadians. Thank you.
That is very true. Justin Trudeau's created a just disaster here in Canada. And I was reading through the comments of the video I posted earlier about the rent crisis and how Justin Trudeau is pretty much erasing the middle class. And one comment that stood out to me was this gentleman or gentlewoman, I don't know who it was. There's no pronoun in the bio, so how am I supposed to know, right? Lives outside Calgary, $6,500 a month household income and saves, I think at most it was like $350 after rent is paid, car insurance, home heating, hydroelectricity, like all, water, all of those things. Life is just not affordable. It seems like you have to make $10,000 a month, like take home, just to stay afloat, just to have some savings, just to have a little bit of fun money. Like, who's going out 3 times a week, 2 times a week, enjoying dinners or going to the bar? Like, who's doing that? It doesn't seem like that's achievable at all. It doesn't seem like anyone's able to save any money here in Canada. But let's see what Pierre has to say about the India-Canada tensions.
Do you support Saskatchewan preemptively invoking the notwithstanding clause?
Before I go any further, I think CP is here today. CP conducted itself with great unprofessionalism over the weekend in regurgitating a false tweet from a Liberal minister to politicize Truth and Reconciliation Day. Really unfortunate that CP would allow itself to be used in this way. It was
Canadian press is CP, folks.
It was a beautiful, touching ceremony that I was able to participate in with Algonquin leaders. The reason we didn't put the pictures of that ceremony is because, based on their traditional custom, photography is not allowed. And so, out of respect for them, we did not photograph that ceremony. Instead, we photographed other Inuit leaders, and an Inuit knowledge keeper in particular, who was present and who also participated in the Algonquin ceremony. And we did so with great respect. And this knowledge keeper has now taken issue with both CP's story and Mark Miller's appalling politicization of the Truth and Reconciliation Day. I think CP should stop acting as the communications arm of the PMO.
Yes. Please respond in English about India. How concerned are you that India wants dozens of Canadian diplomats kicked out, and what would you do differently?
Very. And I would be professional. Thank you.
Is it that difficult, or is it that big of a stretch to ask that the leader of a country acts professional, especially when you're dealing with another country that's population exceeds us by over 10 times? It's just ridiculous. I mean, this has become such big news around the world that even BBC News has been talking about it.
India has expelled a senior Canadian diplomat as relations between the two countries worsen over allegations by the Canadians that Indian agents might have been involved in the murder of a Canadian Sikh activist. Hardeep Singh Nijjar was shot dead outside a temple in British Columbia less than 3 years after he was designated a terrorist by India. A statement from the Indian Foreign Ministry described the allegations they'd been behind his death as absurd and motivated. Earlier, the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau told Parliament he'd raised the issue with his Indian counterpart Narendra Modi at the recent G20 summit.
Over the past number of weeks, Canadian security agencies have been actively pursuing credible allegations of a potential link between agents of the government of India and the killing of a Canadian citizen, Hardeep Singh Nijjar,
who was a listed terrorist in India. So it's convenient that Justin Trudeau doesn't mention that at all.
Canada is a rule of law country. The protection of our citizens and defense of our sovereignty are fundamental. Our top priorities have therefore been, 1, that our law enforcement and security agencies ensure the continued safety of all Canadians, and 2, that all steps be taken to hold perpetrators of this murder to account. Canada has declared its deep concerns to the top intelligence and security officials of the Indian government. Last week at the G20, I brought them personally and directly to Prime Minister Modi in no uncertain terms.
Let's go live now to Mumbai, where we can speak to our South Asia correspondent, Yogita Lamaya. Yogita, thank you so much for joining us. Just remind us of the details of this case, the background to it.
So Hardeep Singh Nijjar was shot dead on the 18th of June by 2 masked gunmen outside a Sikh temple in the Canadian province of British Columbia. He was a prominent Sikh leader, and he publicly campaigned for a separate homeland for Sikhs in the Punjab region of India. Now, that's the reason why India had issues with him, with everyone who's a part of this movement called as the Khalistan movement, which is campaigning for the separate homeland. India sees it as a challenge to its territorial integrity and its sovereignty. And it's this has been one of the big reasons why ties between Canada and India have been strained for a while now. We saw that here at the G20 summit, frosty ties between the two countries. Justin Trudeau didn't attend the president's dinner for all of the heads of state and heads of government who were here. And even during his meeting, the photograph of him with Prime Minister Modi, lots of analysts looking at that said that it displayed, just how frosty those ties have become.
It's important to note, isn't it, that Canada has a very sizable population of Sikhs, and that this is potentially why India would have looked towards the activities in Canada with the focus that it has done.
That's right. And India today, in its statement, is accusing Canada, saying that the statement that Prime Minister Trudeau is making is an attempt to shift focus from long-standing concerns that India has had of people residing in Canada, indulging in what India describes as anti-India activities. Of course, in addition to the allegations and the rebuttal from India, we've also had on the ground, Canada's expelled a senior Indian diplomat. India's done a tit for tat as well, has said they're expelling a senior Canadian diplomat who they say have 5 days to leave the country. The free trade agreement that was being discussed between these two countries, that was suspended a while ago, again, because of these tensions. So, the turn it's taken today, it's been a long time, I think, that India-Canada ties have been at this stage.
And is there any indication from the Canadians as to what information, what knowledge, what insight they have to make these allegations?
Well, so if you listen to Prime Minister Trudeau's statements, he has hedged himself. He says that Canadian intelligence are investigating credible allegations of a potential link. So he's used the word investigating, he's used the word potential as well. So no evidence provided yet as to what specifically these links are. He said that he expects full cooperation from Indian authorities to investigate these links. He's also said that he's shared this information with allies without mentioning who specifically he's talked to about it. But there are reports in Canadian media that he discussed it potentially with President Biden and with Prime Minister Sunak as well. India has been raising concerns about the Khalistan movement and leaders of the Khalistan movement, not just with Canada, but with other countries where there are sizable Sikh populations, like the UK and Australia as well.
Thank you.
It's a bad look no matter how you try to spin it, and nobody with any sort of common sense would have initiated this type of aggression or this type of political tit-for-tat movement with India and its people. It's just very bizarre that Justin Trudeau would almost do this on purpose. Like, you have to be a little bit mental to just make these types of accusations publicly, but without first going, like, he just came back from India. So why would he do that? It feels like it's some sort of stabbing in the back moment for Justin Trudeau, which lives up to his name and his family name. But that's where we're going to end today's video. I'd love to know what you guys think down below in the comments. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about any of the topics that were covered. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to give a like and subscribe if you haven't yet already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now. Thanks so much for making it to the end of the video. If you want to support the channel financially, you can do so by checking out the merch shop linked right up there. Or if you want to do something for free, which is also absolutely acceptable and highly encouraged, you can subscribe right there. If you want to continue watching videos like this, you can do so by clicking or tapping right there to watch the next upcoming video. And if you want to watch a little bit of different content, but also Canadian stuff, you can do so by clicking right up there. That's my second channel, House of Canada, also known as the House of Commons Highlights. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.